accordance with the provisions of Chapter 231 New Jersey Public Laws of 1975, the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by the giving notice to the Courier News posting the agenda in the public lobby of this building 48 hours prior to this meeting. Delivery of this notice to the Franklin Township Clerk at least 48 hours prior to this meeting, and mailing notice to those persons properly requesting to be mailed notification of meetings at least 48 hours prior to this meeting.
For the minutes and for the record, this meeting was called to order at 6:37 p.m. And next we can move on with the roll call.
I just want to note also for the record, in terms of the statement of compliance, that the meeting is also being held in compliance with Chapter 11 of Public Law 2020 and the governor's executive orders that remain standing, permitting such meetings to be held via remote applications such as tonight with GoToMeeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I skipped, and that's number 4. I was supposed to go there. All right, okay. Sorry about that. A roll call, please.
Absolutely. Mr. Alcazar?
Here.
Mr. Ann Berenson?
Here.
Ms. Francois?
Here.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Okay, Pledge of Allegiance. Is there a flag somewhere? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States
Flag.
and to the republic
And
that
Public stand.
nation
One under God. Also, with liberty and justice.
All right. Oh, okay, very good. Oh, all right, excellent. Okay, my wife's just announcing live results. Phil Murphy has been declared the winner of the gubernatorial contest. On that. Can you hear me?
yes,
Did you say it was official?
It is up. Yeah,
Yes.
It's official now. It may not be certified, but they have called the race. On that note, congratulations to Joe Danielson on his victory as well yesterday.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
I don't know.
And
All right. I already read the chairperson's statement ahead of time. Next item on the agenda is to, is there a motion to open the meeting for public comments?
so move.
Second,
Okay. If everyone just announce
Second,
name.
Ford.
Okay. Thank you.
if everyone can mute your microphone if you're not speaking, that'd be great. Okay. Is there a member of the public wishing to address the board? Please state your name, address, and you will have 3 minutes to talk. Is there a member? I believe there's a Nicole. Joe, can you unmute her, please?
I'm sorry, what did you ask for?
Okay, I believe there's a member of the public wishing to speak. There's a Nicole Trent, I see.
They don't look like they're fully connected and or they're muted. No, they don't have any audio.
Okay.
That's
All
what
right.
the symbol that's being presented to me.
Okay. Well, she contacted me earlier. She lives at 315 Ralph Street, and she believes there's a tree that belongs to the authority that has roots that got into her sewer pipes and blocking and backing up. So she was asking us what is the resolution that in situations like that. Perhaps Scott can address that.
So the authority don't own the tree. If there's a tree, this is the first I'm hearing about this. The authority wouldn't own the tree. If it's in the township right away, it might be township owned. And if there's roots from that tree getting into her sewer line, it would be her responsibility to get a plumber to come in and either cut them out or replace what's broken.
Is that how the township handles as well, Scott? Do you know?
Yeah, the township does have like an emergency contractor, but I believe they're also doing their own tree work now. So the best bet would be for her to reach out to Carl Hauk and let her know what's going on. That's going to solve the tree issue. That's not going to necessarily solve her sewer issue. She still would need a plumber to come and truly identify where these roots are coming in from.
Oh, okay. So I believe, is Nicole able to address the board?
Hi, good evening. Are you saying Nicole Trent?
Yes.
Hi, how are you? Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi. I'm sorry, is this time for public comments?
Yeah, we announced the public comment, but we didn't hear your audio, so I explained to the group here the matter that you contacted me earlier. And
Yes.
did you hear the response Scott gave?
I didn't hear the response. My audio wasn't connected. I'm sorry.
That's okay. All right.
Ms. Trent, before you speak, if you can just, for the record, just say your full name and your address, please. And then you can let us know.
Nicole Trent, 315 Ralph Street, Somerset, New Jersey.
Okay, go ahead. You can address the board. Thank you.
Okay, good evening, everyone. One of the concerns I had was outside of our property, there was a tree that was classified that it was the township's tree, and they came and cut it down about maybe a year ago, and then they came and ground it and stumped it. The issue that we had was that the roots of the tree pierced through our sewer line, and the roots are still inside the piping, and what it causes our system to get backed up, and we have to continuously call the plumbing people to have it snaked out. And while we were speaking with one of them, they took pictures in the past about and kind of gave us the footage of how far the roots proceed through the our line. So my question was, how do I go about addressing or contacting someone at the township to see about how do we fix this issue, because we have to continuously anything gets entangled inside the roots, it causes backup and flooding. Our trap system gets backed up and it causes flooding in our basement. And it's from the tree, it's from the roots of the tree that was cut down by the township about maybe a year ago.
Oh, they did come and cut down the tree.
Right, the tree they came and cut down first, and then probably a few months later they came and stumped it, I guess, like grinded it all. They just cut it down first, and then they came and kind of grinded it down. But it didn't, we never addressed the issues of the roots of the tree that had pierced through our sewerage pipes.
All right. What Scott just said on his response, I asked the question that any work within the homeowner's property is homeowner's responsibility in terms of cutting the root out through some plumbing service. But you may approach Carl Hawk from our PW department. I believe I gave you his name and phone number as well earlier.
Which,
So
you say you provided that information, Paul? I'm sorry, I didn't get his name and.
yeah, Carl Hawk. I think if you look at your messenger, earlier messages, I have given you his name and number.
Carl Hawk. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Commissioner, if I may, Cole and Carl, now understanding the tree's already been removed, Carl is not going to do anything relative to her sewer lateral. The sewer lateral being on private property is the ownership of the owner, the property owner. It would be their responsibility to contact somebody to come in and make those repairs. The
So
high pitch
is-
down somewhere.
So does that hold true with if the roots are backed up into the street where the tree was, which isn't our property? Because it ranges, it goes out about 15 feet to the curb line. So like I kind of have been talking to even some of the local sewerage companies that mainly Drain King, who's been coming out to do it and kind of exploring this, and other people who may have had issues with it. So I'm aware of the part of us, we're responsible for our property, but I kind of more so wanted to know, is this something that we work in conjunction with the township with as far as repairs for the portion that's not on our property?
If I may ask a quick question, is there a white 4-inch cap near the curb line, property line?
Is there a white 4-inch cap?
Yeah, like a PVC plastic cap nearest the road. It's called a clean out.
I don't recall.
I believe in front of your house was part of our Franklin Boulevard rehab project, meaning all the laterals in the street were replaced all the way to the curb lines, the property lines, meaning there should be a clean out there. So when the contractor would come in and repair your lateral, he would tie back into that PVC. If the roots did extend from your property towards the street, they should be easily removable when he repairs the lateral on your property.
So is this something that they would have done within the last 5 years, this project?
No, that project was done back in like 2010, 11, 12.
Hey, Scott,
2011.
may I cut in here? I know it's public session. Can we take this offline possibly? Maybe the two of you can talk directly during work hours?
Yeah, it's the first I'm hearing about it. Yes.
okay, yeah, Nicole, we will
The office, we'd be glad to address this thoroughly.
Okay, sure.
Do you have her phone number?
Nicole.
I can put it in. I can either send it in the chat or I can give it to you, Mr. Ram.
Okay, all right. Yeah, you can send it to me by messenger. I'll pass it on.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right. Okay, thank you. Is there any other member of the public wishing to speak? Okay, seeing none, is there a motion to end the public session?
Motion, Jesus.
Second? Teresa, you're muted.
Second.
Oh, okay. All in favor, say aye.
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 Okay. Public
Aye.
session is closed at this moment. And everyone. Okay, thank you. Approval of minutes. the working session monthly board meeting of October 5th, 2021 was presented. Has everyone had a chance to look at it, read it? Are there any comments, corrections? All right, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the working session monthly board meeting minutes of October 5th, 2021?
Motion Schmidt.
Is there a second?
Second Ford.
There we go. Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
We need a roll call on this one.
Oh, we need a roll call. Okay, all right. Roll call, please. April.
Mr. Alcazar,
Aye. Am I allowed to vote for this?
No, you would abstain. You weren't present.
Then abstain.
Mr. Amberenson,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
There's also Ms.
Okay.
Ford. No? April?
And Ms.
Yeah.
Ford?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So the minutes of the meeting are approved as stated, as presented. And I believe, how do we handle the special board meeting June 17th? Oh, that's not the executive. All right. So there's a older meeting minutes are also presented June 17th, 2021. Is there any comment on that working session minutes?
And you can move them both since they're the same date in one if you'd like. You can move the
The executive,
and the executive, yeah, in one motion.
okay. So are there any comments on any of those two meeting minutes? And is there a motion to approve those two meeting minutes?
Motion Ford.
Second? Any second?
Second Schmidt.
All right, it's roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar?
Yes.
Mr. Amberenson?
Yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Okay.
The minutes of those meetings approved? Oh, all, yes, right? All right, the next agenda item is the executive summary professional reports. Mr. Daniel.
I'm sorry. Councilman, did you call for the executive director report?
Yes.
Okay. So for the project status summary report, under legal, they concluded the interim executive director agreement to executive director. With the New Brunswick agreement, I'm being advised that our attorney asked New Brunswick to draft an agreement. I have not yet seen that agreement. I've also given them instructions to assure that I review it first before it's being sent to New Brunswick. Regarding executive session minutes, I think we're still waiting for the August executive session minutes for the special meeting on the 25th. April could correct me if I'm wrong. Personnel, on my report, I have personnel police. It should be personnel policy and practice relative to the forgiveness being written. That's it. That's involving our employment hiring practices. We'll get into that more later on. Marcy Street Watershed Rehabilitation Project, that's going along fine. A DEP inspection concluded there were no issues. We did have rainstorm damage to multiple, possible damage to multiple properties due to the digging and trenching. Some people claim that the water, instead of sheeting down the street, went into the trenches and found their way to people's basements. So we kind of have to look at what the process will be for anyone if they submit claims to the authority or the contractor. We did have several on-site meetings and inspections of the Marcy Street project. And myself and Councilwoman Shipa Udine went to just about every door in the neighborhood to talk to the homeowners there. Hamilton Street, this should be our last meeting with this project still on the board. It's concluded. The final documents and signatures have been submitted to us. I believe they are on my desk. I was advised tonight that there's a consideration involving the performance bond. I would like our engineer, Mike McClellan, to just explain real quickly what the bond issues or options are.
Yes, Mr. Anderson, thank you very much. Can everyone hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Good evening. I have a very quick report on the final payment. As you may or may know, it was in your documents. The contract we're closing out approximately $170,000 under the original amount. So it's significantly under by a little over 5%. That savings results from contingencies that were included in the contract. So there's no overrun. It's an underrun, an under contract, which is nice to see for us. We're happy to present that tonight. The contractor has asked us to reduce the period of the maintenance guarantee from 24 months to 15 months. And basically what that means is that with your project, you require what's called a maintenance guarantee for 2 years. He's requested that it be reduced from 24 months to 15 months. And the reason that he says that is because the pumping station was on and running sometime in February of 2021 this year. And that's the request. I advised we would take that to the board. I spoke to your attorney about it, and Eric's asked and suggested, and your director, that we bring it to the board. It's our recommendation you consider it because the pumping station's been on that long. Essentially, you're getting the 2 years. It's just not 2 years from the date of today, which would be your final closeout. This is not anything unusual. It's a constant request that we get from most contractors, so that basically the period runs from the day the pumping station turns on, and it has been basically moving wastewater since that time.
Dominic, do we have to take any formal action on this, or?
Well, to close it out, right, Mike, there's going to typically be a resolution for that now.
That's correct.
You don't need action tonight. If you don't, I was gonna consider just making sure everyone was okay with that, and we'd include the 15 months in the resolution as opposed to the 24.
That's fine. Though.
Is this routinely done, Mike, this sort of thing?
Yeah, you actually are getting the 2 years, Mr. Chairman, but essentially it's not 2 years from today. It's 2 years from the date they turned it on.
Okay, so I would just ask if this was their intention, why wouldn't we have been notified when they turned it on? Hey, we are going to come back with a request that our maintenance I will guarantee we're going to do this by the time that we officially notify you.
Usually happens, they ask this question when they provide the actual maintenance guarantees. Yes, he could have asked us when we turn it on, but there's been a lot of discussion with other projects that essentially you have the project complete when you have the pumping station turned on. I understand it's really the difference of about 7 or 8 months. It's you'll have a whole year from the time from tonight at least to go through and get the bugs out of the pumping station. That should be plenty of time to go through and do that. And I don't see it as a risk, but certainly it's something that we want to bring to your attention. And Eric suggested we do that with your director.
Okay. Any other questions?
Have we ever had a situation like this before, where a request like this has been made?
I believe with Rodney, it was asked the same similar things, although it was probably less than 15 months because Rodney had been on for some time before we closed the project out. It's a fairly consistent request from contractors. It's not anything we haven't seen before. And I brought it to you obviously don't have to agree to you and say, listen, contractor, we want the full 24 months. I have no problem with that, but that's the request. I'm bringing it to you for your consideration.
So when that previous request was made on Rodney, if in fact that is correct, and maybe Joe or Scott would remember, was that request granted?
I believe it was.
Does anybody else remember that situation?
A while back, Arnold, I can't tell you I could research it, but I really don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I've only been here for about 3 years, so I'm looking for people that might have been here for longer and remember the situation.
Rodney had a lot of things that went on during that project. There were a lot of things that got worked out in the end, settlement from claims and things like that. And one of the things that they claimed was a reduction of that performance period because the pump station had been on for so long. This is not an unusual request. It's something that we see quite a bit, not on every project, but on projects where the pumping station's been on and you've been using it for the full difference between the 24 to 15. 9 months.
I'm not trying to be difficult. I'm just saying, but if you're saying this is something that happens quite frequently and we can only remember one time that it happened, I'm trying to get a historical perspective here to be able to, come to a conclusion.
I can tell you not so much on your project, but on our projects, it's fairly common. Yes, when this condition occurs, when the pumping station's been turned on, basically you had full use of it for almost 8 or 9 months. And that's what brings it to this type of request. So essentially, if the pumping station had a problem in the last 9 months, the contractor required to come in and fix it at his cost at no cost to the authority. So it's almost like a commissioning process.
Okay. Any other discussion on this? All right. Okay, Sergio.
The East Millstone Pump Station, again, we're still expecting delays in supply chain and labor. Prefab building submittal for approval, elevated. Howard, you're on the line. Can you give us just an explanation where we are with the prefab building?
So for the, we had gone back and forth with the contractor several times. We recently have gotten the signed and sealed drawings with regard to the prefab building. It's called a performance spec when we include it in our specifications for bid, but ultimately it's designed by the company that creates the prefabricated building. So they sign and seal it. They submit it to the building department for approval. That was very important for us to get from them because we got with it what's called a reaction table, and that defines how the building will interface with the foundation, and that's the current focus of our effort. So getting that submittal approved was important, and that's allowed us to release the rebar for procurement, the rebar that's going to go in the foundation.
Okay. Howard, since you're on the stand here, why don't we just go right into the high bay garage? Because there's a prefab building that we're looking at that's got some similarities.
Yeah, so this is a much more substantial building, obviously, but we have discovered that procurement of a building such as the high bay garage that we were envisioning, which at present is probably somewhere around 60 feet by 40 feet, is available for procurement through a purchasing cooperative, which would be the Sourcewell Purchasing Cooperative. FTSA is already a member of this cooperative. So we've engaged with one of the vendors that offers these turnkey kind of services through this purchasing cooperative. So that helps the authority address the public bidding component of the work. And what we'll be doing over the next couple of weeks is settling with the vendor, who's really more or less the general contractor for this project, about what a reasonable cost or reasonable budget would be for this. So the authority's under no obligation at this point. We're just trying to get to a budget price from this vendor through the purchasing cooperative. And I think we'll have more to report next month with regard to our negotiations with these guys. But I think this is the way to go. We had originally been anticipating this was going to be very traditional design, bid, public bid, build, similar to the types of projects that you've seen in the past. But because we can get it through the purchasing cooperative, I think this might actually be a pretty fair price, but we'd speed up the construction phase significantly because we'd avoid all the back and forth that's required with getting plans and specs and going to public bid.
Thanks, Howard. Regarding the Somerset Street pump station rehab, CDM is also working on. CDM has provided me with a draft proposal of their services. I'm going to need minor changes to that draft proposal, but it's not concluded. I don't want to waste a month going forward, and I would like the board to consider voting to approve the draft proposal contingent on acceptable changes to me and attorney review, not to exceed an amount of $151,700. This allows us to engage the engineering service, similar to what we're doing with CME on the Brookline project that is a cousin project to this. So I don't know if Councilman Barrison, you and Dominic want to discuss and vote on that now, but I basically, I would like to save a month. This draft just came in the other day, or last week, and I'd like to keep both of these projects going so we don't run into a deadline with either DEP or the IBank.
So yeah, you can do it now. We can, ask for a motion to authorize the retention of the consulting engineer for this project, subject to director and legal counsel's review, an amount not to exceed, what was that, Mr. Danielson, 151?
151,700.
700.
All right.
Somebody wants to make a motion for that, that would be acceptable at this point.
Okay. Is somebody going to give me a motion for the approval? Anyone?
Commissioner Ford, Commissioner Alcazar, did you want Commissioner Francois?
Can you repeat specifically what you would like the motion to be, please?
This is a motion to accept the services proposal from CDM to provide services for the Somerset Street Pump Station Rehabilitation Project that is going parallel with and related to the Brookline Street Rehabilitation Project. We're knee-deep in the process of DEP review of the design plans, specifications, and the I-Bank funding. And we got to keep this moving forward. The only reason why I'm asking for a an approval on a proposal that I have not completed my review on. I've completed a review, but I want some changes made to it. Is if I waited, that would waste another month. And I think we're at a critical point where I need that engineer to continue working.
I will make a motion to approve precisely what Joe just said.
Contingent upon my acceptable changes and the attorney's review, not to exceed $151,700.
Of course. That's my motion.
I second it. Francois.
Moved and seconded. This is need a roll call.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Oh,
Mr. Alcazar?
Yeah.
Mr. Ambaranson?
yes.
Ms. Ford?
Yes.
Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Okay.
Did you get Ms.
Motion.
Francois?
Hey, you skipped me.
Dominic, can you clear that sheet? Ms. Francois is an alternate. Do we need to include her with the role tonight?
She makes up the fifth member, right? So if she completes the 5 members, then yes, she could.
Okay. Okay. Ms. Francois?
Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for the clarity, Dominic. Appreciate it.
From.
Kimberly, you complete us all.
Thank you.
Thank you. The motion passes.
Thank you. Brookline Avenue Sewer Rehabilitation Project is also going very well. Specifications were sent to the attorney. I don't know the status of the attorney's review at this point. Dominic, I would not expect you to know the status of that, but I will ask you if you know the status of that.
Seeing if I have any notes. I don't have any notes on where we are, but I will make sure that we get right back to you tomorrow with where we're at in that process. I'm making a note of it.
Okay. This project is being managed by CME, who's advised me that the DEP did determine the project was exempt from the environmental review process. The DEP, though, is still reviewing the plans and specifications relative to the I-Bank approval for our funding. DEP had a meeting with CME to move the process forward. Mike, I was unable to attend that meeting as I was busy making higher education affordable and helping the middle class. Can you report on that meeting?
Yes, I certainly can. Thank you, Mr. Director. Meeting was today. 2 things that we have some good news. The environmental decision document was indicated and approved for the project, which is a major hurdle in any project which is funded by the I-Bank. The detailed engineering plans and specifications have been sent to the department. We spoke to the gentleman in charge of the engineering group. He said he would have information to us by tomorrow as to the status of their review, which case we'll respond, and hopefully within the next 2 to 3 weeks, we should have an approval to go to bid. Mr. Nassara has indicated the difficulty with dealing with that pumping station. We advised them of the concerns and what's happening over there, and explained to them that this is utmost urgent, and especially with the storms we've been having, and hopefully we'll have some response from them. We'll report back at your next meeting.
Thanks, Mike. Was that meeting with the I-Bank, was that productive today to move this project forward? Excellent, thank you. I'm just gonna run down. Wesson Canal Force Main Emergency Rehabilitation Phase 2 is now completed. That'll also be taken off the board. The Wesson Canal Force Main Emergency Rehab Phase 3. Final comments sent to the contractor by the authority staff. The project is moving forward as expected. So the repair from that, the Wesson Canal Pump Station flood emergency repair, flood repair is going great. The final costs report is still not ready to be submitted to the board to answer Councilwoman Francois' question from last month. I've not forgotten that. Once I have the final repair numbers, I will report that to the board, since it's an open question that has not been answered yet. I will report to you. Scott, what was our rough estimate of the repair costs? Did we say under 200,000?
Correct.
Okay. I did open up a flood claim with our insurance company, and I was surprised that it was denied. Our insurance company, our insurance policy with the JIF has an exclusion, a flood exclusion for all property located within the 100-year flood zone. And this is definitely in the 100-year flood zone, so they denied us. I am going to investigate the option and feasibility of submitting a FEMA reimbursement request, and I will update you accordingly as we go forward with that. Those two items, the denial of our insurance claim and the FEMA response, will be relative to the Wesson Canal Pump Station rebuild project. So what we do know this, that Wesson Canal Pump Station has been flooded 3 times in my years since it's been built. Flooded, destroyed. We need to rebuild that pump station either above the flood or out of that flood zone. So we held a very special meeting with the authority staff, with CME, where CME provided us 3 different concepts with aerial maps of options to explore. Let me just tell you, so since that meeting, I've also met and had a teleconference with the construction committee. That was Commissioner Ford and Commissioner Councilman and Barrison. I explained more details that I'll go into tonight, but our options range from $7 to $10 million. CME presented 2 options that involve moving the pump station to another lot of land, and 1 estimate of simply rebuilding the pump station where it is at now, but at a higher elevation. I instructed CME, based upon what we discussed and what we know now, that they should continue exploring all 3 options. And as we get more details, those details will begin to either eliminate options or make it easier for us to pick one. For example, they may find that the 2 lots that we could potentially move our pump station to are not available or never will be available. So that option would be eliminated. So the process of elimination may make our decision for us. That's about all I have to tell you. Oh, one other thing. The one benefit to moving that pump station is we would be moving it out of the 100-year floodplain, which would automatically make it insurable. I did contact our underwriters and our insurance broker. I contacted our insurance broker and asked them if we raise the pump station above the floodplain, would we then be eligible for insurance under our current policy? And the answer is no. They did offer to seek out flood insurance. I've not given them instructions because the board may just say, just let's build it above level. And we'll deal with it that way. Since that was somewhat of an in-depth project issue, if no one has any questions, I'll move on. If you have questions regarding that project, just interrupt me and we'll go back to it. The Commerce Street.
Yeah, Joe, I have a question on that. I'm sorry I was on mute.
It's okay.
So maybe you addressed this and I missed it, but I'm just wondering if it's because of the type of insurance that we have or the type of policy we have. Is it possible, would it be cheaper? With these, 100-year floods have been happening more frequently and getting worse, and they're going to become more frequent. Is it something to look into? Is it feasible to change the policy that we have? It would maybe cost a little, somewhat more for the policy that would then therefore cover situations like this?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
I think he's saying, is there a way to add an amendment to the policy to cover the flood damage, even if it's within the 100-year zone? I believe it is not possible. We may have to get a flood insurance by itself, and that is not offered by the commercial insurance brokers, right? That is by
It's not offered by the GIF, but our broker could be a broker for us and seek out a flood insurance policy from the insurance community. But flood insurance is good to have. In my opinion, we should be building and planning to avoid flood insurance before a flood even happens. We need to move this up above the floodplain or move it out of the floodplain, regardless if we have flood insurance or not.
Do we have any other pump stations that are in similar situations, potential situations like this? That we would have to raise those also?
Yes and no. We have a similar situation at a much lower level with our East Millstone pump station, but we do not need to raise it or move it. Nor do I don't know if we could if we wanted to. But Howard, East Millstone, that's not within the 100-year floodplain. Am I correct?
No, it is. It is in the floodplain, but it's elevated. We did as part of the rehab work was we elevated it up above the 500-year flood. And I think you're right to relocate it out of the flood zone. You got to kind of go where the sewage flows to, which is the low point, and that's where the floods are.
Yeah. Okay. Commerce Street Drive Pump Station. Commissioner Schmidt, if you're done, I'll continue unless you have more questions.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Commerce Drive Pump Station Rehabilitation meeting was held last week. Final layout was presented to the authority staff and agreed on. Cost estimate is not yet reviewed, but will be submitted this week. Next steps, generally propose the design and board approval. Mike, we would have to go out to bid for that, right?
Yes, that's correct, Mr. Director.
Yeah, then we would go out to bid, and then thereafter the work would begin. So that's on track nicely. Scott, can you give us a report on the roofs?
Yeah, a pre-construction meeting was held on Monday the 1st relative to all roofs here on the authority's property to be either rehabbed or redone, new. I should know by the end of this week. There appears to be one item that may be of a delay due to supply chain issues, and that would be the new insulation that goes underneath the roofing material. The contractor was actually looking to see, as he has quite a bit of inventory, to see if he had enough to do this job. If not, the tear-offs would happen probably in early spring. The one building in the rear, which is the newer building, would be possibly rehabbed in this fall, early winter. So the project's moving forward. Again, we're back to that supply chain issue, but everything seems to be moving forward.
Thank you, Scott. Proud to report that the COVID-19 community testing and sampling project will begin next week, thereabout. Christian, do you have anything other than that to report on this?
Sure. It's actually going to start tomorrow at 9 o'clock. There's going to be 5 sites. So it's going to be next week as well. So it's going to be tomorrow, the first set, and then next Tuesday is going to be the second set. Each set or experiment is going to be 5 different locations. So a total of 10 different samples, and we're going to process it and should have the results in a week. And it's going to be interesting data. I'll send it to Joe, and we could probably share it with the board members to see if it tests positive for COVID or not. And just to be clear, this is a pilot study. So if it's something that we find interesting, we couldn't do something more long-term. So.
Thank you, Christian. And just to remind everybody, this is a fascinating and emerging science where we will take sewer samples with the understanding there is a potential that we could detect COVID virus and levels of COVID virus. If we actually do that with some sort of comparative analysis, we could report this data to the public health officials where they could know possibly a week earlier what the health services demand will be. So we're not the only ones entering this area, and we're quite excited to be a part of it. The Sewage Authority Windows and Doors Replacement Project, CME is managing that. We did hold a meeting with CME and the architect. The architect inspected our buildings. That was fully conducted. And at some point, CME will prepare the paperwork to present a public bid package. And hopefully this will generate interest by vendors and suppliers. That accurately put, Mr. McClellan?
Yes, Director Daniels. And I might add that there's a slight possibility there may be a co-op which would install these with a little less time than going to public bid, because it appears from the architect's discussion there may be a co-op which the authority may already be a member of, which can handle this. And the benefit to you is it cuts down a lot of the time and hopefully will expedite the project.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Councilman Barrison, I jumped through all the other projects on the report because there was nothing remarkable to mention. The last thing I would like to remark, we were contacted by a local church referred to us by the mayor who had drainage issues, and possible sewage issues. We responded back last month. I then called CME, and CME's doing some pro bono gratuitous review for them because they were in a tight predicament. And I just want to congratulate CME for, really partnering and helping out our community. That concludes my summary project status report.
Thank you, Joe, and thank you, Mike, for your generous assistance to our community. Appreciate that.
Our pleasure.
Okay.
You want me to go into my executive director's report?
Yes, that's what I was looking at. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let me just move to a different screen. Okay, under revenue, effective September 30th, we received checks in the amount of $1,064,884.80. That's a little higher than average. Year to date, we have collected $4,561,027.55. That is right on target for our position on the calendar. We have an open balance due of $1,963,359.30. Penalties generated in the month of October were $10,574.46. That is on the low side, but generally in the middle. Under expenditures, our expenditures for the month are $2,115,406.22 as of September 30th. Year to date, $4,708,314.18. That's about it's about 33% of our expense budget, which is right on target. Our cash position is under the category of unrestricted is $892,852.13. Under restricted is $12,670,647.87. And under designated is $6,150,357.18. We have a total cash position of $19,713,857.18 as of September 30th. Before I go on regarding cash, if the board takes a look at our project index report, no, I made organizational changes on it. I just organized it based upon the year. It kept them in a row. I did also the one project that is the Western Canal Pump Station rebuild phase 4 project. I did change that number to 9 million. The reason why I picked 9 million because it was somewhere between 7 million and 10 million, which is what I reported to you, is at the range of those three options that CME has presented to us. Under discussion items, under budget, the audit. So our auditor is unable to finish the audit for now and cannot finish it until the state issues the data that is required of that audit. I confirmed with him as recently as last night, and Andy has assured me that he'll keep me updated as soon as they get from the state the required material. They will give us the draft audit for April and I to review. He will give a presentation the next following meeting to the board, and then we can vote on the budget and sending that to the state. So under escrow, the state did request that the authority send another final letter to each of the organizations who for which we are holding on money before we conduct the transfer from our account to the state. Christian, is that, did I understand that all correctly and stated
Correct.
correctly?
The only difference is it's not, the last letter that went out, I think we had to wait, I think a 3-month grace period. This time the state just said 60 days, 30 days, 1 month. So ultimately, November 10th, we should be good to go.
Okay, and did they give you the wire transfer instructions?
I have everything. So once that date comes, we should be good to go.
Yeah, this is bad. Once I realized we were holding on to money for decades for people that we can't even find, I knew that we need to get rid of this money and do the right thing, transfer it to the Department of Treasury. But this project has taken us 1.5 years to get here, and it's going quite slow. We have 0 connections for the month. Under GIS, I did instruct Christian to request from the town the GIS data for the water and the storm water. Christian, my understanding is we're still waiting for the response from them.
Correct. They sent us their storm. They have limited storm water GIS, just the outlets, but I'm still waiting to get back the water data. So.
Okay. Regarding staffing strength and employment, offers of employment, I do want to request that the board go into executive session so we can discuss in detail personnel issues regarding our policy or practice of forgiveness with new employment. That's all I want to say at this point in favor of going into executive session potentially at the end of the meeting. Let me jump down. Commercial. So we do have commercial under commercial opportunities. So this is one of these cases where a company has identified Franklin Township as being an excellent location to invest in and locate their business. There is a Korean company, a tofu manufacturer, who has decided they want to be located in Franklin Township. So once I heard that, I contacted Vince Dominic and I said we should partner up, the sewage authority in the town, and present to them a concierge type approach to making their process successful, speedy, and affordable. So the architects and engineer from the tofu company, they're one of the top 2 manufacturers in the country or the world of tofu. They actually flew in from California to meet with us for an hour today. It was an extremely productive meeting. And the authority is doing its due diligence, but we are going to make the process expedient and thorough. The engineers, CME, assured that we could do a capacity analysis for this company and conclude that within a 1-month period of time. When we told them that today, they were very, very pleased and very thankful. And hopefully, this process will be not only normal for us, but Franklin Township's reputation as being business friendly will continue to grow. Nothing to report on the bankruptcy accounts that we sent to the tax sale to the township. Insurance broker, already reported. Councilman Barrison, is there anything to report on the municipal amnesty program for illegal sewer connections?
Nothing, nothing more than what we already discussed. There were really no takers.
Okay. Of the discussion items, I'm jumping down to the last one regarding all projects. Just want to remind the board to understand that almost all projects are subject to labor and supply chain delays. So we have to be somewhat understanding and in some cases a little forgiving. But right now, all projects are moving forward nicely. Tonight, we have standard resolutions. They include payroll, operating expense, renewal and replacement, North Track. There are no resolutions for our general fund or escrow. We have a number of additional resolutions. One is the offer of employment. One is a resolution for the purchase of the equipment you approved last month. That is the John Deere mini excavator. And the third one is the approved equipment purchase, which is a John Deere wheel loader. The fourth additional resolution is the authorization to contract with weatherproofing technologies. That was something you voted on last month. And the last thing is I would like the board to consider going into executive session to discuss hiring practices for new employees. And that concludes my report.
All right, thank you, Joe. Are there any questions before I introduce the director? All right, let's move on to committee reports. Negotiation and Personnel Committee. Is there anything to report? Teresa, first report on that committee. You're muted.
Okay. Can you repeat?
The negotiations and Personnel Committee report. Is there any new activity?
There's nothing.
Thank you. Municipal liaison. I have nothing to report from the municipal side. Councilwoman Francois, is there anything that you can recollect? All right. Hearing none, move on. The Construction Committee. I'm in the committee, but I have not attended any meetings on that. If there's anything that we need to attend, Joe, you would contact us to be present virtually or even in person if it's required. All right. The last one is Safety Committee. Is there anything to report? Everything safe? That I would assume.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, next agenda item is the approval of resolutions by consent agenda. All of the items listed below are considered to be of a routine nature, thereby requiring one motion and 1 second for all items. If any member wishes to remove an item from the consent agenda, please advise the chair at this time which resolutions need to be handled separately, and they will be addressed and voted on separately. Does anyone wish to remove any other resolution? Resolution number 1103-2021-1, payroll account $142,000.96. Resolution number 1103-421-2, operating expense account of $206,624.31. Resolution number 1103-2021-3, renewal and replacement of $484,713.74. And the last resolution number 1103-2021-4, North Track Crossing, $25,670. May I have a motion to approve these resolutions, please?
Motion, Jesus.
Second, Ford.
Motion's seconded. Roll call, correct? Attorney?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Barrenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
yes,
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, motion carried. And next we have a number of resolutions that we will vote on separately. Resolution number 1103-2021-5. Resolution to offer employment to Andrew Tina as a laborer in the maintenance department with a starting salary of $25.32 per hour, effective November 8, 2021. Are there any questions on this resolution? Okay. Can I have a motion?
Motion, Jesus.
Anyone seconding?
second Francois.
Question on this. This is for a laborer. Is that what you said?
Yes.
Okay, and is this an additional person or is this somebody that's replacing somebody?
Replacing.
Thank you.
Okay. Motion and second.
One more question.
Yes.
Was this the individual that April said last time we met was conditional on employment? No? Oh.
He would, we had extended 2 conditional offers of employment. This individual has been cleared. And so we are offering his now so that he can go ahead and start on the 8th.
Okay.
Any other candidates will be discussed during the executive session, correct, Joe?
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
you're welcome.
All right. So is there a roll call, right?
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Barrenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes,
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, ayes have it. Motion passes. Resolution number 1103-2021-6. Resolution authorizing the purchase of one John Deere mini compact excavator from Jesco Incorporated through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System. Can I have a motion, please?
motion to approve.
Second, Schmidt.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ann Barrenson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes,
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, let's have it. The motion passes. Resolution number 1103-2021-7. Resolution authorizing the purchase of one John Deere 344L Pilot wheel loader from Jesco Incorporated through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve, Schmidt.
Second, Francois.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ambaranson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, I have it. The motion passes. Resolution number 11032021-8. Resolution authorizing a contract with Weatherproofing Technologies Incorporated for roof restoration and replacement of various buildings through the Educational Services Commission of New Jersey Cooperative Pricing System. Questions on this resolution? If not, can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, Ford.
Moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ambaranson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay, we have it, so the motion passes. That concludes all the resolutions, and I believe we are going to get into executive session. There won't be any decisions made. After we are going to adjourn.
Yeah, so, Councilman Barrison, I think it might be helpful to note that I don't believe there will be any action taken after the executive session. So we can end the recording just after the vote to go into executive session.
Okay, all right, yeah, that's how it's supposed to be.
Dominic, is that appropriate?
Well, I mean, technically you should, if you stop the recording, you probably want to start it up. I don't know how the system works, but, technically to adjourn, because you do have to come back. Even though there's no action taken, you come back to adjourn. I don't know if your typical practice is to shut it down. All you're doing is adjourning anyway. You're advising the public now, so you could do it either way, Mr. Danielson.
The way this system works, I would have to start a new meeting to do another.
Then no, then it's okay. We're advising for the record that once the motion to go into executive occurs, that there will be no further action taken except just to adjourn. So that's fine. Mr. Ambaranson, you're going to be asking for a motion to go into executive session under the Open Public Meetings Act to discuss one of the items per executive session under that act, and that's personnel / hiring practices. Again, there will be no further action taken by the board at the conclusion of the executive session.
Motion, please. To get into the executive session.
Motion, Jesus.
Second, Schmidt.
Second.
All right, moved and seconded. Is that acclamation or roll call?
Roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alcazar,
Yes.
Mr. Ambaranson,
Yes.
Ms. Ford,
Yes.
Ms. Francois,
Yes.
and Mr. Schmidt.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to put us into executive session at 7:56, and we can stop recording.